What's happening, guys? Good morning. Good morning to you. It is Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. This morning, we're going to talk about how do you think about time? How do you process time? How do you think about time? How do you manage time in your life? What does that look like for you? We're going to dig into that this morning. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right. What's happening, guys? Good morning to you. Happy Tuesday to you guys. Lots of people jumping on here first thing this morning. I appreciate that. You know, this topic kind of came from, a little bit of reflecting that I did last night as I was going through some of my Facebook memories. Some of you guys saw the post that I put up last night about, just 3 years ago. I was, in the process of flying home from Florida. It was my last day in Florida, and I'd gone down there to meet with someone to talk about an idea that I had. And, as I was looking through that post last night, I was looking through the one from 3 years ago, and it just kind of hit me, man. And I was like, so I screenshotted it and I forwarded it to a couple of people via text. And I started thinking to myself, like, man, this is, it's crazy to me. Like, when I think back, it seems like so long ago on one hand, and on the other hand, it seems like just yesterday, and so I wanted to think through that with you guys this morning and talk about just time in general. How do you think about time? And I think that, we live in a world that is so, so immediate gratification these days, right? Everybody wants everything right now, and nobody really thinks about, what it's going to look like if we don't get it right now. What do we actually have to do to make our dreams come true over a long period of time? Because it's very difficult to make, your dreams come true in a short period of time, especially if you got big dreams, right? And so I wanted to talk about that this morning. I wanted to dig into that topic and, give you guys some perspective from my journey, from my experiences, kind of what that's been like. I got a bunch of messages last night. There was a bunch of comments on there, but there was also a bunch of DMs, just, people that are chasing something, right? And they, think about giving up, or they've given up once and they, they want to try again, or maybe something that they've seen has inspired them to try again. And so I want to talk you guys through that, because whether it's you or someone else in your life, there's so many people out there that never realize their dreams. And it's because, people either misestimate the amount of time that it's going to take, or they allow those voices, those people around them, to kind of get in their head and slow them down, and and not get to that point of being able to experience it. And I am far from where I want to be. I don't feel like I've even scratched the surface of where I want to go. Kind of what's in my mind as to where I want to take my life and everything, business related, for my family, everything. But I feel like I've made a lot of progress, and I want to talk through kind of how that progress has happened. And, it's not often that I take time to actually think about that. So I want to share that with you guys this morning. But first, I want to say good morning to some folks. Good morning, Weldon Whitehurst. Good morning, Tammy Clark, Jared Bird, Jonathan. Good morning to you. Darren, good morning. Tricia, Carla, good morning to you. Darren, yeah, I can understand, man. It's once you read something that kind of strikes a chord, man, it can make you think, can keep you up at night for sure. Kim, good morning to you. Ryan Austin, man, it's chilly here too. It's snowing this morning, in just flurries, but it's snowing this morning in Pittsburgh. Rodney, my man, good morning to you. JC, what's happening, brother? Barbara, good morning to you. Lee Burkett, good morning to you. And Dave, good morning from Chicago. It's probably chilly in Chicago this morning too, man. And Lewis, good morning to you, man. So let's dig into this idea of time. One of the quotes that I read often, that I share with people fairly frequently, is related to, just kind of how we view time on a day-to-day basis or a monthly basis, and what we can do with it when we look at it through the right lens. And so the quote is from a book called The Long View by a guy named Matthew Kelly. And it says, most people overestimate what they can do in a day, and they underestimate what they can do in a month. We overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can accomplish in a decade. And I think that, it's one of the biggest problems that I see in the world today is that, people give up when the resistance gets tough, or they let those people that are telling them not to do something, they let them convince them of giving up on their dreams. And, I think that far too often when we talk about time and dreams, the amount of time that it takes to realize the things that you want in your life, to actually make those things a reality, a lot of times that takes more time than maybe what it seems to be worth from a financial standpoint at the time. And so what I will give you guys from a perspective standpoint is this. If your dreams are attached to money, if money is the driver of why you want to accomplish something, it will not get you to the promised land. It has to be more than that. It has to be something deep inside you that's burning, that makes you want to achieve what it is. And there has to be something bigger than just a financial gain that drives you to get there. Because no matter how much financial reward there is at the end of that journey, at the end of the period of time that you're going to invest, there's going to be times along that journey that return doesn't seem worth it. And there's going to be times on that journey where that money is not going to do it for you, no matter how much it is, because that money is never guaranteed in your mind. You understand what I'm telling you? It's never guaranteed in your mind. So when things get tough, when it's time to double down on your business, when, things aren't going well, when you try something and it doesn't work, you create something and it sucks. It's not very good. It didn't come out the way that you want it to. You spend countless hours doing something and it goes nowhere. It's all happened to me. All of those things have happened to me. The countless hours, I use Top Contractor School as a example of that. That was, kind of what I was coming home from working on, this idea that I had of helping contractors grow and scale their businesses and how to do that. I had no idea how to do that in the online world. I had no idea, what that looked like. And, for me, I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew that I needed to find the people that could shorten that amount of time that I had to do it for. But as I think back through that journey, and Lewis, that's awesome, man. And I appreciate that comment. This will be really good for you in the stage that you're in right now too, is, a lot of the things that you do when you're first in business, you will not use them a few years down the road. So like that time that you invest, just understand that it won't be, those things that you do, those forms that you create, those videos that you do, everything that you do to get moving, what gets you there will not take you to the next step, right? What gets you started will not be what takes you to the next step. But if you just stay focused and you stay disciplined and every day you keep showing up, man, and that's, one of the things that I'm so encouraged by is, and sometimes I have to step outside of the immediate, people that I interact with on a regular basis, because so many of those people that I interact with are winning, right? And they are exhibiting that discipline. They're getting around the right people. They're plugging into the right energy. They're blocking out the things that people are trying to tell them not to do. And I can't tell you how many conversations that I've had with people who have invested quite a bit of time, sometimes a decade of their life, trying to get somewhere. to have, people over a period of time, talk doubt into their dream and make them, make them doubt whether or not something is going to happen in their life. And it's all I can tell you from that standpoint is, keep those people at a distance in your life. It doesn't mean you have to cut them out, but you have to have those people that you can go to that are going to encourage you, that are going to tell you how to get there. They're going to give you the tools and the resources and connect you with other people that are going to help you and just keep pushing you down the line. There were countless people in my life that told me, when I was building Top Contractor School, and I spent hundreds of hours in the game room of my old house with lights and video cameras and microphones and, everything that I was doing to build this online platform, countless people that just couldn't understand what exactly I was doing. And to be honest, I'm not sure that I knew exactly what I was doing in that moment, but I knew that I had a vision. I knew that there was a need for something. There was a problem that I wanted to solve. And I knew that if I solved it, that a lot of people would have a better companies and a better life, and they would have more money for their families, and they would get home to their children faster than they did before. And there was this burning inside of me, man, that I knew that over a period of time, if I just kept working at it, that it was going to turn, right? At some point it was going to turn. And somebody made a comment, one of the trainers that I used to work with in corporate America at Verizon made a comment this morning about how he felt like he was getting to this point and he was getting, it was getting harder. He could feel like felt like he was hitting a wall. And that's normal. And so what's happened to me over the past, I would say 5 years, but let's just use 3 years since that post, is that I've realized that resistance, you should get excited when that resistance happens, because what it means is that you're getting closer to a breakthrough. You're getting closer to the next level, right? To taking the next step, to being able to be amongst greater company than you are right now. And those are the things that matter in your life. When that resistance happens, when that adversity happens for me in my life now, I get excited. I really convince myself that is a great time for a couple of reasons. Number one, because there's probably a breakthrough right on the other side of that. And the other part is that most of my competition, I believe, would quit in those scenarios. They would turn back. They wouldn't be able to take that heat, and they would either slow down or they would quit. And so I have mentally convinced myself to get excited, in those moments of adversity, when a lot of people would take that whole period of time that they've worked, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 2 years, 5 years, a decade, right? And people in that moment can give up all of the progress that they made with just one decision to turn back, all because of resistance and discomfort. And I think that as we learn that it's not one day that matters, it's not what you do in 3 months that matters or 6 months that matters. It's about showing up every single day. One of the things that I am most proud of every morning when I log on here to do this show is I type in a new number every morning, right? It says this morning says episode 238. And that is an indicator that, over a period of time that I showed up 238 times. And that has helped my life. It has helped my business. It's helped my relationships. It's helped me meet a lot of you guys. And that investment of time, how you think about time will determine the future of your life, because you can't cheat time. You can't cheat the number of hours that you invest into becoming an expert at something. You can't cheat the process. The process is meant to weed out the weak. So when you think about time and you think about the progress that you make, by standing in the face of adversity, by getting comfortable in the fire. When things get tough, it's easy to show up when things are good. What do you do when things are hectic, when things are crazy? Are you the person with the steady hand that keeps showing up and goes back to basics and figures out what to do every day and continues executing? Or are you the person that gives up all of that time and progress that you made because one thing happened to you? And I want you to think about that throughout the day today and throughout the weekend, and just think about, how many times in your life, this should motivate you, how many times in your life you've allowed yourself to slide backwards as a result of one thing that happened, or maybe a couple of things, but you've allowed your progress to be taken away because you took your foot off the gas. And, you could ask my wife, she'll tell you, like, I don't take many days off. I don't take many days that I, don't do anything. I'm either, doing something with our kids. There's very few days, there's a couple times a year that I kind of, just chill out and lay around and, don't do too much. But for the most part, I try to keep the pressure on, right? I try to keep moving forward because I view time. I think about time as, something that I can multiply if I just keep pushing, right? When I have the momentum, everybody has felt that point in their life where they know that they've got momentum in their favor. For those of you in sales, they start coming in, right? The deals start coming in and man, you just feel all the momentum and the confidence. And so you're able to multiply your productivity during those times. When you think about time that way, and you think about your ability when you're at your peak performance to multiply that time, that is how over a period of years, you can make progress that surprises even yourself. And so when I wrote that post last night, it was honestly like emotional for me because I don't spend a lot of time thinking about, how far we've come or how far I've come. But when I read that, I just thought to myself, like, man, I wish there was a way to go back and show everyone that may be ready to give up or may be ready to turn back. I wish I could show them those moments where I felt the same, but I kept going. Those moments where people told me that I was crazy or that I needed to do something different, or, I shouldn't spend so much time in my game room recording videos, that I should be doing something else. And, there's 300 people. We just passed 300 people total in the programs at Top Contractor School yesterday. And there's a lot of people that wouldn't have knowledge if I had listened to those naysayers. And by the way, those naysayers, they're not out to not have you be successful. They just don't understand. They don't understand exactly what you're doing, exactly what you're trying to accomplish. They don't see your vision, and you shouldn't expect them to. It's your vision. What your job is as a person in this world, as maybe a business owner who is trying to build a business, and you need other people to participate in that business for it to be successful, your goal is to be able to cast that vision to others and to have them buy into that vision. Whether that's, the people that need to help you grow your business, or whether that's the people who you are trying to acquire as clients into your business. If people buy into that vision, if they believe in what you believe in, if they see the same thing that you do, then you will build a successful business and people will be there to support you. And part of the reason why it was emotional for me last night is like, man, I went back through the last 3 years and I thought about just how fast the time goes on one hand, and on the other hand, how long ago it seems and how many hours were put in, and most of all, how many people along the way, just lend a hand and reach out and spend their time to try and help you. And I could go on and on, man. I could give I could give a list of, I don't even know, probably hundreds of people who have taken time out of their life to help my vision and my dreams become a reality. And so part of the reason why I do this is that so many people along the way helped me. And so I want to be that person for as many people as I can. You know, I say this all the time, but you know, when you were a little boy or a little girl and you know, you had that one person in your life that really, really believed in you, that one person or a couple of people that saw something in you that other people didn't see. You know, I want to be that person for people. I want to be that person that people never forget for being that person that really believes in them, really gave them the energy to take the risk that allowed their life to change. And I want you guys to be that person for other people too. And that's why I show up here. That's why I'll be here for hundreds of more episodes, trying to make a difference, because that one person that you change that may start a show just like this one. Glenn Lundy, you know, I was on Glenn Lundy's show. I had an idea to do a show like this. I just didn't know exactly how to do it. And I was a guest on Glenn Lundy's show. And a week later, I turned this camera on for the first time at 7:30 a.m. And so the impact that episode and that Glenn Lundy and the movement that he created had on me is now spilling over into hundreds and hundreds of other people every single day. And so together, you know, as we show up here every single morning and we focus on making our day one day at a time a little bit better and chaining those days together into you know, an unbelievable string of weeks and then months and then quarters and then years. And we look back at our lives and we realize how much progress we've made, man. It's special. And that's what this life is about. It's not about the junk that you see on TV. It's not about the stress that you get from reading about politics or the division that you feel in our country. We are always so much more alike than we are different. And, you know, I'll believe that until the day I die. You know, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter, you know, how divided we get. I believe that we are all wired the same to want the same things. The mass majority of life is lived the same way, right? With the same desires, the same basic human needs. We all have them. And so when you go into this day and you start thinking about time, don't think about what you can accomplish today. Think about what you can accomplish in a year or 2 years, or in my case, yesterday, 3 years, as a result of just chaining together enough wins, right? You know, going through every week, trying to win every day, just every day. You know, you watch professional football or any professional sport, and they say, you know, what do you think about the playoffs? And they say, man, I'm just trying to win one game. And I can relate to that because every day I show up and I sit down in this chair and I think about how I can win, you know, how I can win for myself, for my family, for God, for my team, for the people around me, for the people who depend on me, for you guys. You know, how can I win today? How can I get just a little bit better every single day? And that's all it takes, guys. It's putting together enough wins. And, you know, once you gain that momentum, you don't let anybody take it away. And you don't let anybody change your direction of what your dream and your vision is, because the time that you have invested will go down the drain if you stop pushing. And you have to realize that. It's the most important thing. It's the thing that I see so many people do. You can't work. You can't work until you're exhausted for 90 days and then take a month off. It doesn't work that way. You have to figure out how to put it in every single day. And if that takes a little less effort every day, but the consistency and the discipline grows over a period of time, you'll gain that strength and gain that momentum. And those are the things that will propel you closer and closer and closer to the dreams that you've had. And there is nothing, I'm convinced 1,000%, there's nothing in this world you can't accomplish. If you decide to put your mind to it, you're willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to get it. So when you start thinking about time going forward from today on, I want you to think about, what does it mean for me to win today? And what does it mean if I win the next 365 days? What does it mean? Where will my life be if I win for the next 365 days? Because I'm going to tell you guys, there is something in life, everybody knows what compound interest is. There's the same thing happens in your life. As you keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep that consistency and discipline, you will gain compound interest in your progress. And too many people don't do it. They give up. They slow down. They veg out on the couch because they get to the point of exhaustion. Exhaustion is not the answer. It's consistency. So when you think about time, I want you to remember that quote. I'll read it to you one more time this morning. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day, and they underestimate what they can do in a month. We overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can accomplish in a decade. So ask yourself that question. What is it that you can accomplish in the next decade? How are you viewing time today, and how do you need to change that? Because I'm telling you guys, consistency is the answer. Consistency is where it's at. When you get that down, man, you're going to look back on your life and you'll have that same moment that I did yesterday. And like I said, I'm far from where I want to be, but to be able to look back at 3 years ago and know what has been created and accomplished in those 3 years, it's a pretty cool feeling. It's a humbling feeling to know how many people were there to help along the way. And so I want to be that person for as many of you as I can. And so please don't ever hesitate to reach out. I appreciate all the comments on that post. Appreciate all the messages that you guys sent me. And I mean it. If there's anything I can do for any of you guys, and, don't hesitate to call, text, DM, whatever it takes. I'll be there for you if I can. And if I'm not the right person to help you, I'll get you in contact with somebody that is. So I hope you guys have an awesome Tuesday. I hope you got some value out of this. And, don't waste the day, guys. You get one of these lives to live. Don't waste the day. Figure out how to make every day a win somehow, even when you feel like crap, even when you feel like you don't want to show up. Those are the days that are most important. Those are the days that your time gets multiplied. When you didn't have to show up, you had an excuse as to why you didn't have to, and you showed up anyway. Hope you guys have an awesome Tuesday, and I will see you again tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective.